All right, everyone. Today I chose to talk about how companies basically try to trick you into buying things by, say, mislabeling them or saying they're better than they are in some way. And the first thing that came to mind was the protein cookie. So I'm going to explain to you several different foods, what they really are composed of, and why I think it's unfair to be labeled like a protein cookie. Exactly why. So you have to listen to all my reasoning, and it'll make sense by the end of it. All right. So first thing, this is called protein powder. Okay. Why? Because if I look at the ingredients, it's got about 1 gram of carb, 2 grams of fat, and 21 grams of protein. Clearly, it's mostly protein. Protein powder, okay? That makes sense, right? Everyone can understand, we all agree, protein powder is protein powder. Now, this is almond breeze, okay? We love this stuff. It's not called protein almond breeze. Why not? Because it's not a bunch of protein in it. It is 3.5 grams of fat, 1 gram of carb, and 1 gram of protein. Wouldn't it be a lie to say it's fat, wouldn't it be a lie to say it's protein milk of some sort when it's mostly fat? The reason we're drinking this is because of the fat. So we want the healthy fat in this. That's why we're drinking it, okay? So it makes sense. So they're not lying. This is very well labeled. It makes sense to me, okay? Now, all right. Sport gainer. Notice it doesn't say, well, it says muscle gainer, but it doesn't say like protein gainer or protein powder, because if I look at the ingredients, it says, all right, 40 grams of protein. Well, that sounds pretty high. Fat, 9, so that's not too high compared to the protein. Carbs, 156. Calories, 870. Who in the world's gonna drink this stuff? 870 calories? I mean, unless you're trying to get fat, why would you drink this? It's all carbs. You may as well just have ice cream, What's the point? So this is not a protein food. It's not protein, it's carb food. They could easily call this carb gainer, and that would be a very fair name to label this, okay? Now, getting back, I think we have a bit of a background. I can talk about the protein cookie. So this is the one that I chose to talk about. Lenny and Larry's. So there was a sale and it was $1, and I saw 16 grams of protein. I thought, oh, that'll be interesting. I mean, I'm not dieting, so I don't have to worry about it too much. So I'm like, okay, it looks big, 16 grams of protein per cookie. So then what you have to do when you get any food is look at the nutrition label, or how would you know what's in it? So I'm reading it, it says calories 200. I'm like, 200 in that? That sounds really low. Then I look closer and I'm like, oh, 2 servings per container. 2 servings. Who in the world eats a half of a serving of a cookie? I'm eating at least 1 or 2. So really, this is 1 serving to me. So it's 400 calories. So you can't sit there and think it's a 200 calorie cookie. It's 400 calories. That's more than a lot of people's meals, especially women. A lot of your meals are less than this each. Your supper is less than this on a lot of your diet plans. Okay? So that's a lot of calories. Now, let's analyze it further. Protein, 8. 8? Says 16 right here. 8 here. What's going on? Well, it's because they put the entire serving of protein on the entire cookie on the front of the package, and on the back of the package they put half of a serving. Well, that is completely misleading, because anyone that picks this up is thinking 16 grams of protein, 200 calories. They're not reading all the little details, so that you're automatically tricked. It's because, they planned this out. Now, it's called a protein cookie. I have a very clear idea of what it is to be a protein anything. Protein bar, protein whatever, To me, it should be mostly protein. It doesn't have to be all protein, but mostly. Like protein powder, clearly it was mostly protein. So there's carbs, protein, and fat typically in these things. Each carb has 4 calories. Each protein has 4 calories. Each fat gram has 9 calories, which is more than double 4. 4 plus 4, 1 more. All right, so to save people who are not good at math, which is most people, we'll just double the grams of fat to change it to calories so that we can compare it more evenly. All right, so we'll find out, what is this mostly? Protein 8, because it's per half serving, which is half a cookie, which no one in the world eats half of this. Sugars 12, protein 8. All right, so it's already got 4 grams more sugar than protein. So it should be called a sugar cookie. My mom made sugar cookies for me when I was growing up, and they were delicious. She never ever said, hey, Greg, little Greg, do you want a protein cookie? No, they said cookie, because this is a cookie. It's not a protein cookie. It's full of sugar. 12 grams of sugar. Fruit Loops have the same. So they could call this a Fruit Loop for all I know. All right? Carbs, 27 grams. Protein 8. Are you kidding me? It's carbs. This is cereal. I don't even know why it says protein on here. Well, I do, because they're trying to trick you. Fat 7. 7 times 2 is 14, so roughly let's consider it about 14. So it's mostly carbs, mostly sugar, and mostly fat, and a little bit of protein in there somewhere. I don't know where it is. Somewhere in this cookie, maybe that little crumb on the side is protein. So if you eat this, do not pretend and tell any of your friends that you're eating a protein meal or some kind of health meal. This is garbage. This is there in whatever I missed. Garbage, okay? Do not eat that protein cookie unless you consider it a cookie. Instead of eating, I don't know what they're called, Oreos. I don't eat cookies. Eat an Oreo, because it's got less calories than that. You could probably eat, I don't know, maybe 7 or 8 Oreos instead of that one cookie. There's one protein cookie I have ever encountered in my life that I would recommend. One. You want to know which one it is? My protein cookie. This is the only one. And bear with me. I will explain why. 320 calories per cookie. They know you're eating a whole thing. They're not going to say per one bite of this cookie. So there's 320 calories. Fat is 10. Carbs is 20. Okay, so how do we really compare? Remember, fat you multiply by 2. So fat was only 10, so let's double it. So it's like being 20. Carbs is 20. So fat and fat and carbs are about the same. Protein, we go sugar. Sugar, 7. Okay, 7. Protein, 37 and a half. I don't care what grade of math you're in. You know 37 and a half is bigger than 10 or 20 or 7. Okay? This is a protein cookie because it's mostly protein. So if you eat this, and I see you eating it, I know you're eating something that is mostly protein. Okay? So you can legit say this is a protein cookie because it's full of protein. Simple as that. Okay? I'll go through some other examples. Pick Greek yogurt here. I eat one of these or 2 every single day. Even on a diet, I eat this stuff. This to me could be called protein yogurt. Because why? Fat, 0. 0. Not 10. Carb, 5. Protein, 18. 18. There's way more protein in this than anything else. This is protein. You may as well just say you're eating protein. You're looking for a protein snack? Boom, protein. When I was a kid growing up, I called these things protein squares. And the reason is 4 grams of protein, 3 grams of carbs, 0.3 grams of fat. So the highest number is 4 on protein, so it's mostly protein. Okay, so if you eat these things, it's protein. These are all dairy products, FYI. And I'm not against dairy on a diet. And if you're lactose intolerant, well, that sucks that you're lactose intolerant. But unless you have a reason not to have lactose, don't just cut it out because, oh, there's so much sugar in lactose, I don't want to get fat. Sugar's in lactose. Bad. No. Just really look at it. Sugars, 5 grams. Protein, 18. It's protein. There's sugar, yes, some. A bit, a tiny amount. Not enough to kill you. Eat the thing, okay? Next, Protein Crunch. These are on sale for $1, and I love sales, and I bought this. And then 15 seconds later, it was empty and 900 calories in my belly. And then I looked at the nutritional facts. Well, honestly, I looked at it before, but that's besides the point. Let's see what it is. It's Protein Crunch, right? So obviously, it's going to be mostly protein. It's Protein Crunch. Fat, 10. Carb, 7. So it's not much, it's not high in carbs. Protein, 10. Okay, so let's do that quick thing. You remember what to do? What do you do with fat? You double it, okay? Simple. So it's like 20. Carbs is 7, sugars is 3, protein is 10. So what is this? It's fat. It's mostly fat. So it should be called Fat Crunch. Do you know how many of these they would sell if they called it Fat Crunch? 0. Just like the amount of fat in that Greek yogurt. 0. They call it Protein Crunch because I buy it because I want protein. So they tricked me. Okay? This is Fat Crunch. If you're looking for fat, boom, you got it. If you're looking for protein, Protein Crunch, you do not have it. So don't eat this. Plus, I can't even stop eating it. 900 calories. I could eat like 8 bags of this, I swear. It's like so good. What else do I got to go over here? Some protein bars. Okay, awesome. Let's do that. Okay. Looks like a protein bar, right? This one, they don't lie to you. It looks like a protein bar. They call it an energy bar. Very fair respect to this bar because they're not trying to trick me. Because the protein is 20, the fat is 8. 8 times 2 is 16, so it's still mostly protein. Then we look at sugar, 26, and carbs, 38. So this is mostly sugar and carbs. And so to call it a protein bar would be not fair. To call it an energy bar or chocolate bar or a high calorie bar or a sugar bar or a diabetes bar, that would be very fair. So they chose energy bar because we all like energy. There's no caffeine in it or anything, so that would have been better if it was really energy. But fair enough, there's 20 grams of protein and there's 320 calories. So that protein cookie and this are very similar in calories, except that one had almost double the protein this one does. So that protein cookie was legit. Quest bar. Everyone knows what a Quest bar is, so why don't I go and look at it. 210 calories, fat 9. Okay, so what do? We double it. So it's like 18. So we'll compare 18. Carbs, 20. Fat, 18. Similar. Protein, 20. Similar. So protein bar, I think very fairly you can say, yes, it's a protein bar. And then people would be like, okay, well, what about the sugars and stuff? It says less than 1, and it says fiber 13, and how do we figure out calories? And the calories don't add up, and nothing makes sense. I'll explain that just because, okay, so like VitaFiber, this is like a fiber that they put into these kind of bars, and I put them in a lot of my recipes. And the calories is weird in fiber. It's not like exactly 4, it's changed. So in 1 teaspoon of this, 4 grams of carbs, 4 times 4 is 16, but it doesn't have 16 calories, it has 9 because it's got 3.5 grams of fiber. And this special fiber in here doesn't have 4 calories per gram. So, I mean, this didn't exist 20 years ago, like when I did nutrition. So it's not something we talked about, but it's got like around 2.1 calories per gram or something like that. So when you look at the calories in this, because of the high fiber content, it's going to be a bit misleading. You're not going to really understand why don't the calories add up. But just consider, if it's got a lot of fiber, the calories are going to be slightly different. So Quest bars are a go. There's 20 grams of protein. The downfall is this costs more than my sports car. So it's extremely expensive, like legit so expensive that unless you're a doctor or a lawyer, I don't know how you can afford it. Okay? Be Up bar, you know, go through this one. 6 grams of fat times 2 is like 12. Protein 20, 20 is higher than 12. Carbs 27, but fiber's 20, so there's a ton of fiber in there. So you can't figure out the calories really. You need a degree in calculations to figure it out, whatever. But in general, this one's a go-to. 20 grams of protein, only 6 grams of fat, and the carbs is 27, but 20 of it's fiber. The calorie is only 180. It's legit. It's mostly protein that you're getting. Costco, cheaper. Quest, expensive. This one has 4.5 grams of fat, 20 grams of protein, 19 grams of carbs. So 20 protein is the highest number. This is a go, and it's cheap as hell. Now this is my new favorite. It doesn't taste quite as good as Quest, but it's almost as good. And it's $25 for a 20 pack. So literally, it's as cheap as a lot of chocolate bars. And surprisingly, it's got 190 calories, 21 grams of protein, 22 grams of carbs. So that protein carb is almost the same. So technically, I could say, well, it's a carb bar because it's slightly higher than the protein. But 15 of it's fiber, so you know about the fiber having less calories. And so really, it's going to have mostly protein compared to the fat and the carbs. So legit, tastes good. Way less than half price of a $1 million Quest bar. So, you know, I give this a thumbs up as well. And just to further prove the point, you have to look at your label. Like, what is this? Bacon bits. Simulated bacon bits. So I'd be like, well, I have no idea what's in this. But you look at the ingredients, and it's got 30 calories, fat 1, so you can double it, so it's like 2. Carbs is 2, fiber's 1, and protein's 3. This is mostly protein. If they wanted to really increase their marketing sales, they could have this at Supplement King or Popeyes or, you know, all those supplement stores and legit put protein bacon bits. Get them while they're hot. And it would be like $50 and we would all buy them. And it'd be like, oh yeah, that's legit, man. All that protein, that's awesome. So this little cheap label, like it looks like poop. Why do I keep saying poop? And it's like $3 or something at the store for like all this, and it's mostly protein. I put it on wraps and stuff quite a bit. So yeah, so that just kind of goes over a small size example of what it is to be a protein something, okay? So hopefully none of these companies sue me because I'm talking about their supplements, if they like them or not. But the next time you buy a protein anything, protein brownie, protein whipped cream, protein ice cream, they're all out there. Protein this, protein that, protein, right? Protein cupcakes, protein muffins, protein pizza. Read the label and use my example of double the fat that you see. So if it says 10, call it 20. Compare 20 to the carb. Compare the carb to the protein and look if the protein is the highest number. If it is, you have a protein food. Whatever you want to call it. Protein apple goop, protein apple pie, protein cheesecake, whatever you do, you can do that, okay? If not, you are lying and tricking yourself into thinking you have a protein-rich food, when in fact, it might just be like my mom's sugar cookies, which maybe there was an egg in there. I don't know how to make a cookie, but like maybe there was an egg, but she didn't call them protein cookies. They're sugar cookies. They're cookies made of sugar, fat, whatever. So do not get tricked. Do not get scammed. Start reading labels, and I'm gonna start posting also more videos about like foods that trick people into buying them. They mislabel their calories. Like it's horrible. They'll say 0 calories, meanwhile it's full of sugar. Or like it's all protein and you read the ingredients and it's full of like brown sugar, molasses. It's so trickery. It's not even fair. The average person doesn't know anything about nutrition, and then you compound it with math, which people know nothing about, and then you have like scientists designed on how to like trick you into buying something, and no wonder people make mistakes. It's so complicated because you just have to understand everything to buy a simple food. You think it's simple, the label's there, but no, way too complicated.